Hey folks, welcome to my channel. If you do not know, my name is Fatal Shock, and today we're talking about The Meg. Finally got a chance to go see this. Emma and I have been very sick, which is why the background is so horrendous, but we had time to get to the cinema after all this, you know, priorities. And I just want to state for the record, I remember reading the book as a kid. I absolutely loved it, and when it was going to be adapted to a film in 2008, I was excited. Here we are 10 years later, it's finally a film. So for those of you who don't know how the format for my video reviews work when it comes to movies, I spend a few minutes talking about non-spoiler stuff, and then I will be delving into a few choice spoilers that I want to talk about so that we keep the video nice and short and we keep it to the point. So first off, the film is awesome. I knew it would be because I love shark movies, and this looked like a film that was going to be semi-serious but semi-fun, and that's exactly what it was. But it had more emotional depth than I thought it would. There's certain characters you actually grow to care about, and you're like, oh, I hope he doesn't get eaten. I hope he doesn't get eaten. Because you think you've identified everyone who's meant to be shark chow, but you're probably wrong. Let's talk about what I really like. I really like the special effects. I thought the shark was going to be a cheap knockoff, superimposed great white shark, but they actually made it look like a pretty unique beast. They didn't just say, here's a giant great white. They said, no, here's a giant shark, predatory in the vein of the great white. And I also really appreciated that they gave the shark a certain level of intelligence that I wasn't expecting, in the sense that there's shots underwater where you see it just swimming amongst hundreds and hundreds of legs, but it's not just going on a crazy killing spree like the video game Jaws Unleashed. It's actually just checking everything out, which is a very realistic viewpoint to give the shark. And of course, somebody spots his fin, and everyone starts panicking and splashing, and then the carnage begins because, oh wow, all of a sudden it's interesting. Now granted, there are still some pretty goofy scenes, and it's Jason Statham. It's Megalodon. And you know what you're gonna get. You know what you're gonna get as soon as you buy your ticket. You know what you're gonna get. But to his credit, he pulls it off. He makes it a fun role. And even though, yeah, he never ceases to be Jason Statham, you root for him, you care about him, you don't want him to die. That is the biggest tribute I can pay this film, is that you actually grew to care about the characters, even when you're there to watch everybody be shark chow. Now, I could spend some time on the supporting cast, but to be honest, they're pretty forgettable. Jason Statham is kind of a show stealer, and he definitely steals every scene he's in. But Ruby Rose does actually steal a few scenes as well, to give her credit, so power to her. I also really liked the tone. I mentioned that I thought it was going to take itself semi-seriously, but there are points in the film where it definitely took itself 100% seriously, and I appreciated that. We live in an age where there's like 6 Sharknado movies now. We need shark films to occasionally try. Just try. The music was composed by Harry Gregson Williams, and as you would expect based on his prior work, it is catchy, it is memorable, it's exciting, it's frightening, it's an awesome score. While the film doesn't ever get into campy territory, there are a few scenes that are a little bit, and they will pull you out of the experience, but there's also really quite, oh, there's going to be a jump scare, oh, there's going to be a jump scare scenes where you're just like, okay, he's panning around, he's checking underwater this side, he's checking underwater this side, you know there's going to be a shark at the screen, and when it happens, it does make you jump. So as you can tell, I had a really good time with this. I was not disappointed. No, it's nothing like the book, but it still was a very fun time, and I'm definitely going to award it a rare shark card because I recommend you see it in cinema if you can. Great popcorn flick. Not quite perhaps a summer blockbuster, but you'll have a damn good time with it. Okay, so now we're going to enter a very brief period of spoilers. First off, let's talk about the doctor guy, whose name I've forgotten already, who denies him all through the film, saying he's a liar, he's suffering from post-traumatic stress, he's a coward, he leaves people behind. And then his death is one of the most brutal scenes in the film, because you actually just see the shark silhouette under the water, open mouth, go for his legs, just like you would in like Jaws. And it's just like, oh, that dude is about to die a horrible death. And I have to say, like, I heard that the director was cutting out a lot of blood and gore from the film to bring it back down to everybody can watch it territory, but there were still plenty of scenes in the film that I thought, there are little kids in here. When Emma and I went to the cinema, there were actual kids in the cinema ranging from like 5 years old to 12 years old, and I remember thinking there's going to be a lot of nightmares and a lot of parents aren't going to get a lot of sleep tonight. And I was absolutely right. By the end, there were plenty of kids being walked out of the cinema by their parents, and I thought, oh, bathroom break? Some of them never came back in. Shock horror. That's not to say it's a scary film, but there are some scenes that I would have considered too intense for a 5-year-old. Let's talk about the infamous big up of Statham versus the Megalodon, because the film climaxes when it reaches this point where he's trying to rescue his would-be love interest, and the shark's trying to go for him, and he ends up clinging onto the shark by stabbing a knife into the side of the shark, and it's pretty goofy, but the film presents itself in a way where I'm just like, yeah, I believe that ending is possible. Based on the world you've created for me, I believe this ending is possible. One last thing I want to talk about is the tension buildup. There's a very ominous score playing all through the first 20 minutes before you see the first shark, spoiler alert, because we're in the spoiler section. There are 2 sharks. And I have to admit, I found myself very ready to cover my eyes and ears at any moment, because I'm not a scared person in the cinema, but when I know something is going to lunge at me and possibly make me jump out of my chair, I'm braced for it. And there was a big section at the beginning of the film where I was just like, oh, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? And you're just waiting for it to show, and it just gets so intense. Granted, after you actually see the shark, it starts to get a little bit more like the film you expected. But the build-up to the first appearance of the shark is superb, and it definitely contributes to why I gave it a rare shark card. So that's my review for The Meg, you guys. I really recommend you go see it if you like shark movies. If you just like summer blockbusters, I reckon you'll have a pretty good time. It's not going to be an Oscar winner, and it probably won't get a sequel, but it was an absolute blast. I recommend you see it, probably at full price if you can go, or maybe better yet, if you like me have a cinema pass that lets you go to as many films as you want, as many times as you want for a fixed monthly rate. Definitely go check it out. It's fun, it's not full of gore, but it's full of thrills, full of excitement, some pretty good special effects, some not so good special effects that will make you giggle, and there's definitely some decent jump scares in there as well. So I can fully back the film. I think it's an excellent time. I recommend everybody go see it, and keep an open mind. You're not going to Oscar bait film. You're going to a film about Jason Statham versus a giant shark, and that's about as good as it possibly could have been. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, tear that like button limb from limb. If you want to be among the first to be notified of new content on the channel, go ahead and smack that subscribe button and ring that bell, and I will see you guys next time.